Dear student, this is the second session on general consideration on antimicrobial agent. In the previous session, we have discussed different definitions regarding antimicrobial agent and we did classify antimicrobial agent. In definition, we discussed three terms: chemotherapeutic agent, antimicrobial agent, and antibiotic agent. Antibiotic agents are the natural occurring substance obtained from microorganism like penicillin G that is obtained from fungus Penicillium notatum. Antimicrobial agent, it is a broader term. It includes antibiotic, and not only antibiotics are included antimicrobial agent but also synthetic obtained product which kill microorganisms are also included. Chemotherapeutic agent, it is a much wider term than antimicrobial agent and antibiotic. It includes not only antimicrobial agent but also anti-neoplastic agent. Anti-neoplastic agent are called in loose language anti-cancer drugs. So these are also included in chemotherapeutic agent because there is an analogy between antimicrobial agent and anti-neoplastic agent because neoplasm as well as microbe both invade host cell. So treating of both of the condition, neoplasm and microbe, are included in chemotherapy. Then we classified the antimicrobial agent on the basis of their mechanism of action, their spectrum of action, and others. In this session, we will discuss two terms, two things, two concepts of antimicrobial agent. One is supra-infection and second one is resistance, antimicrobial resistance. So starting with superinfection or supra-infection, both are same thing and it is very important question for university exam to be asked in short note. Supra-infection or superinfection, that means सुपर इन्फेक्शन के ऊपर इन्फेक्शन that is super added to the other infection. What does it mean? Suppose a person is suffering from one infection and to cure that infection the physician prescribe a antimicrobial agent, and because of that antimicrobial agent another infection occurs in that patient. This another infection in the already suffering patient, that is called supra infection, infection के ऊपर infection. So the appearance of a new infection as a result of antimicrobial therapy. And why you have prescribed antimicrobial therapy in that patient? To treat the infection. So appearance of a new infection in a patient of old infection who is receiving antimicrobial therapy. So this type of infection is produced by antimicrobial therapy. So how does it happen? We prescribe, we give antimicrobial therapy to a patient to treat a infection. But how can it cause a infection? What is the reason behind it? The reason is broad spectrum antimicrobial agent or extended spectrum antimicrobial agent. Broad spectrum antimicrobial agent are tetracycline and chloramphenicol. As we have discussed in the previous class, broad spectrum antimicrobial agent treat microbes of a wider spectrum. They act upon gram positive, act upon gram negative, aerobic bacteria, anaerobic bacteria. A wide spectrum of bacteria are affected, their growth is inhibited or they are killed by broad spectrum antimicrobial agent. Extended spectrum is they act upon a larger number of bacteria like cephalosporin, second or third generation cephalosporin. They act upon a very good number of gram positive and gram negative bacteria. So when the broad spectrum antimicrobial or extended spectrum antimicrobial agents are given to a patient, what happens? They disturb normal flora of body. bacteria are present, normal non-pathogenic bacteria are present in GIT of a patient, in a GIT of a person. When we give broad spectrum antibiotic to a patient, what happens? Normal flora, normal bacteria that are which are non-pathogenic, they are disturbed. They are killed also by that bacteria, because these antibiotic, these antimicrobial agent we are giving, these are broad spectrum which are affecting a large number of bacteria. And because of the broad spectrum action of antimicrobial agent, non-pathogenic bacteria are also killed, are also inhibited. What is the role of these non-pathogenic bacteria in our GIT or in our body as a commensal? They protect us against non-pathogenic bacteria. They compete with the pathogenic bacteria, and they protect us from pathogenic bacteria. When the non-pathogenic bacteria are inhibited or killed by broad spectrum antimicrobial agent, what happens? Those pathogenic bacteria supersede the non-pathogenic bacteria and they infect us. Like candida. Candida is an infection. The growth of candida is inhibited by non-pathogenic bacteria, non-pathogenic microbes in our body. So when the non-pathogenic bacteria are inhibited, pathogenic bacteria, pathogenic microbe like fungus predominate, and they invade and they cause an infection, and this infection is called as supra-infection. So which antimicrobial agent causes supra-infection? Broad spectrum, like tetracycline and chloramphenicol. Extended spectrum antimicrobial, which one? Ampicillin, amoxicillin, newer cephalosporin, second or third generation cephalosporin. They cause supra-infection. They are generally more difficult to treat. Which there are few conditions which predisposes a patient to supra-infection. Less immunity of a patient. Less immunity is encountered in corticosteroid therapy. Immunity is reduced in the patient who is taking corticosteroid for prolonged time. Less immunity is also seen in patient of diabetes, HIV, leukemia and other malignancy, especially when treated with anti-cancer drugs. Disseminated lupus erythematosus and agranulocytosis. Agranulocytosis means neutropenia. This table shows the candidate organism in supra-infection which is involved, which is causing supra-infection, clinical features of supra-infection and drug used in treatment. You have to keep remember at least the third one, Clostridium difficile, that is highlighted in red. Clostridium difficile. This is the bacteria which causes supra-infection, and the infection caused by Clostridium difficile is pseudomembranous enterocolitis. A thin membrane is present on intestine because of Clostridium difficile, and this disease is called as pseudomembranous enterocolitis. Which drug is notorious to cause pseudomembranous enterocolitis is clindamycin. Tetracycline, aminoglycosides, ampicillin, and etc. It is common after colorectal surgery. And which drugs are given for treatment of pseudomembranous enterocolitis is metronidazole plus vancomycin. Metronidazole and vancomycin, this combination is used to treat pseudomembranous enterocolitis caused by Clostridium difficile. These are also other candidate organisms in supra-infection, Proteus and Pseudomonas. These are all are written in your textbook. So this is a very severe, very serious problem, supra-infection. So how would you minimize the chances of supra-infection? What are the cause of supra-infection? The cause of supra-infection is use of broad spectrum antimicrobial agent and extended spectrum antimicrobial agent to treat infection. This is the cause. So how will you minimize the chance of supra-infection? Do not use antimicrobial agent to treat trivial infection, self-limiting or untreatable viral infection. Many of us suffering from upper respiratory tract infection, diarrhea. In these conditions, many of the physician or almost of the physician prescribe antibiotic. These are most of the condition, they are the viral, they are self-limiting, they do not require a antibiotic. So do not use antibiotic to treat trivial, common, small infection that are upper respiratory tract infection and most of the cases of diarrhea. So don't use antibiotic. And if you are using antibiotic, use narrow spectrum and target the microbe which is causing that infection. Do not use, avoid broad spectrum antibiotic, avoid extended spectrum antibiotic if you know the pathogen, because the use of broad spectrum antibiotic, use of extended spectrum antibiotic increases the chance of supra-infection. Do not unnecessarily prolong antimicrobial therapy, because the duration of antimicrobial prescription increases the chances of supra-infection. Okay. Now we will discuss drug resistance. What is drug resistance? Drug resistance is microbe is not showing response to antibiotic. Microbe is not showing response to antimicrobial agent. Either it is not inhibited or not killed. So unresponsiveness of a microorganism to a antimicrobial agent is drug resistance. And because the microbe is not showing response, microbe is not inhibited or not killed by antimicrobial agent, it will start continuing the infecting the host. So the duration of infection will prolong in that patient. How the drug resistance is acquired by bacteria? First, first is natural resistance and second is acquired resistance. What is the difference between natural resistance and acquired resistance? Natural resistance means, for example, we take the example of penicillin G. Gram negative bacilli are normally unaffected by penicillin G. पेनिसिलिन जी की ये टेंडेंसी ही नहीं है कि वो ग्राम नेगेटिव बेसिलाई को इनहिबिट करे. सो ग्राम नेगेटिव बेसिलाई आर naturally resistant to penicillin G. So this is natural resistance. So some microbes have always been resistant to certain antimicrobial agent. This is called as natural resistance. ऐसा नहीं है कि ये ग्राम नेगेटिव बेसिलाई पेनिसिलिन जी से पहले इनहिबिट होते थे या पहले किल्ड होते थे, पहले रेस्पॉन्स शो करते थे पेनिसिलिन जी के अगेंस्ट, पर अब रेस्पॉन्स शो नहीं करते. दैट इज नॉट सो. Gram negative bacilli have not shown response any kind against penicillin G. So they are naturally resistant to penicillin G. Another example is metronidazole is for anaerobic infection. Metronidazole is an antimicrobial agent that is for anaerobic infection. Or aerobic organisms are not affected at all by metronidazole. Similarly, aminoglycoside is for aerobic bacilli. Anaerobic bacteria are not inhibited by aminoglycoside. So, what is the reason behind the natural resistance? The bacteria that are not showing response to that antimicrobial agent, those bacteria lack the metabolic process or the target site which is affected by the particular drug. This type of resistance does not pose a significant clinical problem because we already know that gram negative bacilli will not show any response against penicillin G. So to treat the gram negative bacilli infection, we will not give penicillin G. To treat the aerobic infection, we will not use metronidazole. To treat the anaerobic infection, we will not use aminoglycoside because we already know we will use another available best antimicrobial agent. So this is not a clinical problem. What is the clinical problem? That is acquired resistance. The bacteria was showing response to antimicrobial before, but because of resistance acquired, because of the acquired resistance, the bacteria are not showing response to antimicrobial, not showing response to anti. This is resistance is acquired. The bacteria was sensitive before, but it is not sensitive now because they have acquired resistance. So acquired resistance is what? Development of resistance by an organism which was sensitive before due to the use of antimicrobial agent over a period of time. It is a major clinical problem nowadays. Development of resistance is dependent on the microorganism as well as on the drug. For example, there are some bacteria which are very notorious to develop resistance, like Staphylococcus. It is a very common bacteria, gram-positive cocci, Staphylococcus aureus. It is very notorious to develop resistance. To treat Staphylococcus aureus infection, we have to use a wide variety of a high-end antibiotic nowadays. Similarly, coliform bacteria and tubercle bacilli. On the other hand, there are some bacteria which had not developed resistance very much, like Streptococcus pyogenes, spirochetes. One of the spirochete causes infection syphilis, Treponema pallidum. And to treat Treponema pallidum, when the Treponema pallidum was isolated in clinical specimen, that time penicillin G was effective 50 years back, and now even after the passing of 50 years, penicillin G is still effective against Treponema pallidum. So spirochete have not developed resistance. So some of the bacteria has high tendency to develop resistance, some of the bacteria has less tendency to develop resistance. How the resistance are developed by bacteria? They are different mechanism. First is mutation, and second is gene transfer between the two bacteria. These mechanisms have been discussed in microbiology in detail. We will discuss in brief mutation and gene transfer. Mutation. Through the mutation, the resistance is transferred vertically. Resistance is transferred from bacteria to its progeny. It is vertical transfer. And through gene transfer, whether it is conjugation, transduction, or transformation, what happens? The gene transfer is horizontal. It is transferred, resistance is transferred from one bacteria to another. Horizontal transfer, not vertical, not its progeny. Resistance is usually slow and of lower grade in mutation, while through what is the resistance is through gene transfer, it is rapid and of higher grade. Multi-drug resistance is developed through gene transfer. Mutation is of two types: single step mutation and multi-step mutation. One point mutation and multi-step. It is obvious, the name, it is clear difference between the single step mutation and multi-step mutation. While the gene transfer occurs through three different processes, one is conjugation, transduction, and transformation. You have read in microbiology. Conjugation, gene transfer is through sex pili from one bacteria to another bacteria. One bacteria which is having resistance factor, this resistance factor is transferred to another bacteria through sex pili. So that are transferred, that resistance factor is also transferred to another bacteria, and the another bacteria is also resistant. Transduction, what is transduction? Transduction, the gene transferred is through bacteriophage. Bacteriophage is a virus. So gene transfer is through from one bacteria to another bacteria occurs through virus. First virus is infected by bacteria, and this infected virus infect the another bacteria. So gene is transferred from one bacteria to another bacteria through virus. Third is transformation. The resistance factor is transferred in medium, and this is practical of less importance in development of resistance. What is cross resistance? What is cross resistance? It is acquisition of resistance from one antimicrobial agent conferring resistance to another antimicrobial agent to which the organism has not been exposed. What does it mean? It means, suppose there are two penicillin penicillin's drug, ampicillin and amoxicillin. Suppose if the two and penicillin, ampicillin and amoxicillin, the patient is on ampicillin for prolonged time, and now the infection or the bacteria is not responding to ampicillin because that bacteria has been acquired resistance to ampicillin. That patient will not show response, that bacteria will not show response against amoxicillin also, because the ampicillin and amoxicillin both are penicillin, both share the same chemical structure. So the bacteria that has developed resistance to one antimicrobial agent will not show response to another antimicrobial also. So development of resistance to one antimicrobial agent conferring resistance to another antimicrobial agent to which the organism has not been exposed. So that patient has not been exposed to amoxicillin. Even then, the patient will not show response against amoxicillin. This is cross resistance. This is more commonly seen between chemically or mechanistically related drugs. So ampicillin and amoxicillin both are chemically similar drugs. So the bacteria that has developed resistance to ampicillin will show also resistance against amoxicillin. But there is one exception. Resistance to one aminoglycoside may not extend to another, like gentamicin resistant strain may respond to amikacin. On the other hand, unrelated drugs show partial cross resistance. For example, between tetracycline and chloramphenicol. So the microbe which has developed resistance against tetracycline will show some degree of resistance against chloramphenicol. Both of the drug tetracycline, chloramphenicol, they are not related chemically, they are not related mechanical wise, mechanism of action wise. Even then, they show partial cross resistance. The same is true between erythromycin and lincomycin. So this is cross resistance. So how will you prevent the chances of drug resistance? Whether it is supra-infection or it is drug resistant, why they are occurring? Why they are occurring? Because of the excessive use of antimicrobial agent. So the solution, how to prevent supra-infection, how to prevent drug resistance? Minimize the use of antimicrobial agent. Use antimicrobial agent only when they are required genuinely. If any infection is self-limiting, if any infection can be treated without antimicrobial agent, don't use antimicrobial agent. Minimize the antimicrobial agent. So the measures to prevent drug resistance are similar to measures as supra-infection. Do not use antimicrobial agent to trivial self-limiting or untreatable infection. Use specific or narrow spectrum antimicrobial agent wherever possible. Do not unnecessarily prolong or shorten antimicrobial therapy. And the first three measures are the same as the measures of supra-infection, but two measures are new in the drug resistance. What is that? Use combination of antimicrobial agent whenever prolonged therapy is undertaken. For example, to treat tuberculosis, at a time we give 2 or 3 or 4 drugs. What is the benefit of prescribing 2 or 3 or 4 drugs at a time? One bacteria, suppose the bacteria the person is harboring, the patient is carrying crores of bacteria. Out of these crores of bacteria, one bacteria is not responding to one antibiotic. That will be killed by the another antimicrobial agent. So the resistance can be prevented through multiple drug at a time. Second is infection by organism notorious for developing resistance, like Staph aureus, E. coli. They must be treated intensively. Before they develop resistance, kill them vigorously, treat them intensively. So these are the measures. How will you prevent the drug resistance? So thank you. Okay.